Step back in time to a peaceful medieval village, where quiet cobblestone streets, thatched cottages, gentle animals, and calm villagers move through their daily routines. Experience the soothing sights and sounds of this timeless place, perfect for relaxation, sleep, or focus. Immerse yourself now in 2 hours of calm history. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more peaceful journeys into history. A pale silver dawn slowly settles over the ancient stone walls of the monastery, resting quietly upon weathered arches and narrow cloister paths that have carried centuries of silent footsteps, the air cool and still as the world beyond sleeps in distant darkness, while within these thick walls a calm rhythm gently awakens, faint candlelight glowing behind small arched windows where simple wooden beds line narrow chambers, each monk rising without spoken word, moving softly so that even the echo of breath seems respectful of the silence, robes brushing against cold stone floors as hands fold in quiet prayer, the scent of wax and old parchment blending with the clean morning air drifting through open shutters, and in this sacred hush time feels slow, unhurried, untouched by urgency, as though the monastery itself breathes in long peaceful intervals. The bell does not ring loudly here but hums gently through the corridors like a distant heartbeat, guiding the monks toward the chapel where tall columns hold the ceiling like ancient guardians watching over countless dawns, sunlight slipping through stained glass in muted colors that paint the floor in soft amber and pale blue, each monk kneeling upon smooth stone worn by generations of devotion, heads bowed, eyes closed, lips still, prayer unfolding inward rather than outward, the silence, thick yet comforting, wrapping the space like a warm blanket, broken only by the subtle movement of fabric and the gentle rhythm of slow breathing, and as minutes stretch into quiet eternity, the mind naturally slows, thoughts drifting like dust motes floating in golden light. After the long stillness of morning prayer, the monks move quietly into simple corridors leading toward the refectory where wooden tables rest polished by decades of gentle use, bowls of warm porridge waiting patiently beneath faint steam, bread resting in woven baskets, water poured carefully into clay cups, each monk seated without haste, eating slowly, mindfully, appreciating the warmth of nourishment without conversation, the faint sound of wooden spoons touching bowls creating a soft, repetitive rhythm that mirrors the peaceful beating of the heart, the aroma of grain and fresh bread grounding the senses, creating a gentle comfort that settles deep within the body, encouraging relaxation and ease. When the meal is finished, each monk returns their bowl silently, stepping back into the cool courtyard where morning mist still lingers upon low herbs growing along stone edges, rosemary and thyme releasing subtle fragrance as footsteps pass nearby, birds perched along rooflines offering distant soft calls that echo faintly into the open sky, the sun slowly rising higher, warming stone walls that have stood through countless seasons. And here the monks begin their daily labor, some tending small gardens with careful hands loosening soil and watering tender leaves, others copying manuscripts in quiet rooms where quills glide gently across parchment, ink forming elegant letters that preserve knowledge and prayer across generations, each movement slow and deliberate, each breath steady and calm, the work itself becoming meditation. The passage of time inside the monastery feels different from the outside world, measured not by clocks but by light shifting across stone floors, by shadows lengthening along pillars, by the steady rhythm of breathing and motion, and as the morning deepens into gentle midday warmth, the monastery remains wrapped in peaceful stillness, protecting the mind from distraction, inviting restfulness and inward reflection, allowing tension to slowly dissolve like mist beneath the rising sun, leaving only calm awareness and steady tranquility. As the gentle warmth of midday slowly settles across the monastery courtyard, sunlight gliding softly over pale stone pathways and quiet archways, the monks continue their peaceful rhythm without urgency or distraction, each step measured, each breath slow and steady, the surrounding air carrying the subtle fragrance of earth warmed by light and distant wildflowers blooming beyond the monastery walls, and in this tranquil atmosphere the mind naturally loosens its grip on hurried thoughts, allowing awareness to drift calmly from moment to moment like a leaf floating upon still water. Inside a long, narrow scriptorium, tall windows allow thin beams of light to fall upon wooden desks where aged manuscripts rest carefully opened, parchment slightly textured beneath steady hands, quills dipped slowly into dark ink, the faint scratching sound forming a quiet melody that blends seamlessly with the silence, monks seated upright yet relaxed, shoulders softened, eyes moving patiently across lines of ancient text, preserving wisdom passed through centuries, each letter drawn with intention, each pause filled with mindful breathing, the room filled with a comforting sense of continuity, as though time itself flows gently through these written words and settles peacefully into the present moment. Nearby, in shaded garden corners enclosed by stone walls softened by creeping vines, monks kneel beside small plots of vegetables and medicinal herbs, fingers brushing cool soil, adjusting tender stems, watering roots with simple clay vessels, droplets catching sunlight briefly before sinking into the earth, the repetitive motions grounding the body and calming the nervous system, birds occasionally fluttering overhead, wings stirring the air softly, distant bells echoing faintly across the hills, blending into the natural rhythm of wind and light, creating a soundscape that gently supports relaxation and steady breathing. As the hours move forward without pressure, the monks pause occasionally to stretch their hands, to feel the warmth of sunlight upon their faces, to inhale the clean air that carries the quiet promise of afternoon stillness, and in these moments the body settles deeper into ease, muscles loosening, thoughts drifting slowly like clouds moving across a pale blue sky, the mind no longer chasing concerns but resting comfortably within the present experience of gentle motion and calm awareness. When the midday bell hums softly through the corridors once more, its tone low and comforting rather than commanding, the monks gather again in the chapel where the atmosphere remains cool and dim, stone columns casting long shadows that stretch peacefully across the floor, candle flames flickering slowly as if breathing in harmony with the quiet room, the monks lowering themselves into seated stillness, eyes closed, hands resting loosely, the silence deep and expansive, inviting inward listening rather than outward attention, allowing the nervous system to settle into slower rhythms, heartbeat softening, breath lengthening naturally without effort. The stillness lingers unbroken, minute after minute unfolding gently, the mind drifting into a peaceful space between waking and dreaming, where thoughts appear briefly and dissolve without resistance, where awareness floats calmly like a feather suspended in warm air, the body supported by solid stone and quiet presence, the entire space holding a sense of safety, simplicity, and timeless calm that slowly washes through every layer of tension and fatigue. Eventually the monks rise smoothly, their movements quiet and unhurried, stepping back into sunlit corridors where soft light spills across curved walls and worn staircases, guiding them toward simple afternoon tasks, some returning to their manuscripts, others preparing herbs for evening meals, carefully arranging bundles upon wooden shelves, the faint aroma of dried lavender and sage drifting through the air, creating a soothing sensory comfort that subtly encourages deeper relaxation and steady breathing. Outside, shadows lengthen gently across the courtyard stones, birds settle into nearby trees, and the distant landscape remains wrapped in warm silence, as though the entire world has slowed its pace to match the monastery's peaceful rhythm, inviting the listener to release the final layers of mental activity, to surrender gently into calm stillness, allowing the body and mind to rest fully within this serene flow of quiet time. As the afternoon gradually deepens into a softer, warmer glow, the monastery settles even further into its quiet rhythm, sunlight stretching gently across the stone corridors, illuminating dust particles that float lazily in the still air like tiny golden stars suspended in time, and within this peaceful atmosphere every movement becomes slower, more deliberate, allowing the body and mind to sink naturally into a state of calm presence where nothing needs to be rushed and nothing demands immediate attention. The monks move quietly through narrow passageways, sandals brushing lightly against the cool stone floors, robes flowing gently with each step, the faint sound of fabric becoming part of the steady background hush that defines the monastery's timeless character. And as they pass arched windows, soft breezes carry subtle scents of distant fields, warm grass, and flowering herbs drifting gently inside, reminding the senses of the quiet world beyond the walls without disturbing the deep interior. Stillness. In a small library chamber tucked away from the courtyard, Tall shelves hold rows of aged leather-bound volumes, their spines softened by centuries of careful hands, the room lit by filtered daylight passing through narrow windows that cast soft rectangular patterns upon the floor, monks seated at long wooden tables reading slowly, eyes gliding calmly across faded lines of script, absorbing wisdom without urgency, pausing occasionally to reflect inwardly before turning each page, the faint sound of paper moving softly through the silence, creating a subtle rhythm that blends seamlessly with slow breathing and relaxed posture, the mind naturally drifting into a meditative state where thought becomes gentle and spacious rather than sharp or demanding. Elsewhere, in the quiet kitchen space, a few monks prepare the simple evening meal with patient attention, slicing vegetables slowly, washing herbs carefully, placing ingredients into clay pots with gentle precision, steam rising softly into the warm air, carrying comforting earthy aromas that invite the body into deeper relaxation and grounded awareness, the subtle crackle of fire beneath the cooking vessel offering a low, soothing sound that resembles distant rain or quiet embers settling into rest, and even these simple tasks become a form of moving meditation, each gesture calm, balanced, and steady, encouraging the nervous system to remain relaxed and untroubled. Outside in the enclosed garden courtyard, the sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon, light softening into golden amber hues that paint the stone walls with warmth, long shadows stretching gently across the pathways, birds settling into nearby branches, their movements quiet and unhurried, leaves rustling faintly in the afternoon breeze, creating a gentle natural symphony that requires no attention yet offers deep comfort to the senses, and as the air cools slightly, the fragrance of soil and greenery becomes richer, grounding the body into the present moment, easing any remaining tension from muscles and joints, allowing the breath to deepen naturally without conscious effort. As time continues to drift peacefully forward, the monks gradually gather again within the chapel for the soft evening prayer, candlelight flickering slowly along the stone walls, reflecting warm glows upon carved columns and wooden benches polished smooth by generations of quiet devotion, the space filled with a hushed reverence that feels protective and comforting rather than solemn, the monks settling into stillness, hands resting gently upon their knees, eyes closed, shoulders relaxed, breathing steady and slow, allowing the mind to release the last fragments of daily thought and gently enter a deeper state of rest and inward awareness where silence becomes expansive and nourishing rather than empty. The candles sway faintly as subtle air currents move through the chamber, their flames rising and falling in slow rhythm, casting soft dancing shadows that drift across the walls like silent waves, the warmth of the candlelight soothing the nervous system, encouraging the body to release any lingering tightness, and within this peaceful glow, time seems to stretch endlessly, minutes unfolding like soft layers of calm, each moment blending seamlessly into the next without distinction or urgency, creating a continuous flow of tranquil awareness that invites sleep-like relaxation while remaining gently awake. After the prayer concludes without spoken signal, the monks rise slowly and move quietly back through the corridors, the sky outside transitioning into deeper twilight hues of soft violet and pale blue, the first stars beginning to appear faintly beyond the monastery walls, lanterns being lit gently along the hallways, their warm light guiding footsteps through familiar paths, the atmosphere growing even more serene as evening settles fully, the air cooling slightly, carrying the peaceful promise of night and rest. In the refectory, a simple evening meal is shared in silence, warm soup offered in humble bowls, bread broken slowly, water poured carefully, the steady rhythm of eating creating a calming repetition that encourages mindful presence and gentle satisfaction, each swallow grounding the body further into comfort, warmth spreading slowly through the chest and abdomen, creating a sense of safety and nourishment that supports deep relaxation and restful awareness, the faint clink of clay bowls touching wooden surfaces echoing softly through the quiet room without disturbing its peaceful balance. As the meal concludes, the monks clean their spaces carefully and return utensils to their places, movement slow and respectful, preserving the calm atmosphere that now envelopes the entire monastery, lantern light glowing softly along the stone walls, casting long gentle shadows that stretch like peaceful rivers of darkness across the floors, the silence growing deeper and more spacious as night approaches fully, inviting the body and mind toward rest. Back within their small chambers, monks prepare for sleep with unhurried simplicity, folding robes neatly, extinguishing candles slowly, allowing darkness to settle gently into the room, windows left slightly open to allow cool night air to drift inside, carrying distant sounds of wind and insects, the simple wooden beds offering firm support beneath soft blankets, the body settling comfortably, muscles releasing completely, breath slowing naturally into deeper rhythms that resemble gentle ocean waves rolling quietly upon a distant shore. The mind begins to soften further, thoughts becoming slower and more spacious, awareness drifting gently between waking and dreaming, the quiet rhythm of the monastery continuing uninterrupted throughout the night like a steady heartbeat, offering reassurance and calm continuity. And within this safe, peaceful environment, sleep arrives naturally and effortlessly, wrapping the body in restorative stillness and deep tranquility, allowing every cell to rest and renew within the gentle embrace of silence. As the deep quiet of night settles fully across the monastery grounds, the stone walls gently release the warmth they absorbed during the day, cooling slowly beneath the open sky while faint starlight rests softly upon rooftops and narrow courtyards, the air calm and still, carrying only the delicate whisper of distant wind moving through nearby trees. And within this peaceful stillness the monastery continues its timeless breathing rhythm, steady and unbroken, offering a sense of safety and continuity that naturally invites deeper relaxation and restfulness. Inside the long corridors, lantern light glows faintly behind frosted glass panels, casting soft amber halos upon curved stone surfaces, shadows stretching slowly like gentle rivers of darkness that drift across the floor without urgency, creating a soothing visual rhythm that calms the nervous system and quiets the mind. Within the sleeping chambers, monks rest quietly upon simple wooden beds, blankets rising and falling gently with each slow breath, faces relaxed and softened by peaceful dreams, the room filled with a cool freshness that supports deep restorative sleep, windows slightly open to welcome the night breeze carrying subtle natural scents of earth and leaves, the distant chirping of insects forming a low, continuous soundscape that blends effortlessly into the silence, creating a comforting background presence that reassures the body and mind into sustained calm. The steady rhythm of breathing echoes faintly through the chamber, slow and synchronized like waves arriving gently upon a quiet shoreline, reinforcing the sense of collective stillness and shared tranquility. Time flows differently during these quiet hours, measured not by clocks or bells but by the gradual shifting of darkness and faint light across stone surfaces, by the slow cooling of the air, by the gentle cycles of breath and rest, and within this timeless rhythm the mind naturally releases its attachment to planning and memory, drifting instead into spacious awareness where thoughts appear briefly and dissolve without effort, allowing the nervous system to remain deeply relaxed and balanced. The body sinks further into the supportive surface of the bed, muscles releasing completely, shoulders softening, jaw unclenching, hands resting loosely, every small tension melting away as if gently warmed by inner calm. Outside, the monastery courtyard rests peacefully beneath the open sky, stone pathways illuminated faintly by moonlight that filters through drifting clouds, ivy leaves swaying slowly in the mild breeze, shadows shifting gradually across ancient walls that have stood silently through countless seasons and generations, offering a quiet sense of stability and endurance that comforts the subconscious mind, reminding it of continuity, protection, and calm presence. A distant owl may glide silently across the sky, wings moving soundlessly through cool air, its brief presence blending seamlessly into the stillness without disturbance, reinforcing the natural harmony of night. Deep within the chapel, candles have long been extinguished, yet a soft echo of warmth remains within the stone, the space holding the quiet memory of prayer and peaceful gathering, the air cool and gentle, the silence thick yet nurturing, as if the walls themselves continue to breathe slowly and evenly, holding the sacred calm that permeates the monastery even in complete darkness. The benches rest undisturbed, shadows pooling gently along the floor, columns rising quietly toward unseen ceilings, the entire chamber resting in deep tranquility, offering a symbolic anchor of stillness that supports restful sleep throughout the grounds. As the hours progress slowly toward the earliest hint of morning, the night remains calm and unbroken, the stars continuing their silent journey across the sky, the moon shifting gradually, light patterns moving subtly across rooftops and courtyards, and within this slow celestial rhythm the body remains safely wrapped in rest, breathing deep and steady, heart rate calm and consistent, the mind floating gently in dreamlike awareness where images drift softly and dissolve without tension or urgency, supporting emotional balance and deep restoration. In the quiet chambers, subtle changes in air temperature invite deeper comfort beneath blankets, the body adjusting naturally without waking, the nervous system maintaining a state of parasympathetic calm that supports healing and renewal, allowing each system within the body to reset gently and efficiently, muscles repairing, mind integrating memory softly, breath remaining smooth and rhythmic, creating a sense of profound safety and ease that extends through the entire night cycle. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, the darkness begins to soften at the horizon beyond the monastery walls, not yet visible within the enclosed courtyards but subtly sensed in the changing quality of stillness itself, a gentle anticipation of morning that does not disturb rest but rather deepens the sense of peaceful continuity, reminding the subconscious that cycles unfold naturally without effort or control, that rest flows seamlessly into waking just as night flows into day, without resistance or strain. Within this calm awareness, the monastery remains held in protective silence, breathing slowly, resting deeply, supporting every sleeping body within its stone embrace, offering stability, security, and quiet presence throughout the final hours of night, allowing the listener's mind and body to mirror this deep tranquility, sinking fully into relaxation, comfort, and restorative calm. As the final veil of night slowly begins to soften beyond the monastery walls, a gentle shift moves through the quiet air, almost invisible yet subtly felt, like a slow breath awakening from deep rest, the darkness lightening gradually into muted shades of soft blue and pale silver, while the stars fade quietly into the widening sky without sound or urgency, and within this calm transition the monastery remains wrapped in stillness, holding its steady rhythm as the world prepares for another peaceful cycle. The cool night air drifts softly through narrow windows, brushing lightly against stone surfaces that retain a faint memory of warmth, creating a delicate balance between coolness and comfort that invites the body to remain deeply relaxed and supported. Inside the sleeping chambers, the slow rise and fall of blankets continues in gentle harmony with steady breathing, faces peaceful and softened by restful dreams, muscles fully relaxed, the nervous system remaining calm and balanced, allowing the body to complete its natural renewal processes without interruption, the mind floating lightly between sleep and quiet awareness, thoughts dissolving easily into soft imagery that fades gently without attachment. The silence remains nurturing rather than empty, filled with the subtle presence of stillness itself, offering reassurance and safety to the subconscious, encouraging continued rest and ease. Outside, faint early light begins to touch the highest edges of stone rooftops, barely visible yet slowly expanding, illuminating delicate outlines of ivy leaves and distant hills beyond the monastery grounds, while a soft breeze stirs lightly through the courtyard, carrying the fresh scent of morning dew settling upon herbs and grass, grounding the senses even in half-sleep, gently signaling the body's internal rhythms to remain calm and aligned with the natural cycle of rest and awakening. The courtyard stones, cooled overnight, now receive the earliest hint of warmth once again, their surfaces slowly shifting in temperature as the rising sun approaches the horizon, and this subtle change moves quietly through the environment without disruption, offering continuity rather than contrast, allowing the entire space to remain steady, peaceful, and balanced. Shadows stretch long and faint across archways, gradually shifting position with graceful slowness, marking the passage of time in a way that feels soothing rather than demanding. Deep within the chapel, the air holds a serene stillness untouched by movement, columns standing quietly in the soft dimness, benches resting undisturbed, the faint outline of stained glass windows beginning to emerge gently as light increases beyond their surface, preparing silently for the return of candlelight and prayer later in the morning, yet remaining fully immersed in tranquil rest for now. The space feels timeless, suspended between night and day, holding calm awareness without need for activity or sound. Within the minds of the sleeping monks, dreams drift lightly and peacefully, images unfolding slowly without sharp emotion, the subconscious processing experiences gently and smoothly, supporting emotional balance and clarity, while the breath remains slow and steady, heartbeats calm and even, creating a physiological environment of deep restoration and healing that supports long-term well-being and resilience. The body remains supported by the firm simplicity of the beds, spine relaxed, limbs resting comfortably, the entire physical system aligned in ease. As the early light strengthens gradually, subtle bird movements begin beyond the monastery walls, wings fluttering softly in distant trees, their presence barely audible, blending seamlessly into the quiet background of dawn, reinforcing the natural continuity of life unfolding without haste or disturbance. The faint chirps are gentle and spaced, not demanding attention, simply offering soft reminders of the world gently awakening beyond the sanctuary of stone walls. The monastery itself seems to breathe calmly through this transition, stone absorbing warmth slowly, air shifting gently, shadows moving gradually, everything unfolding with steady patience and balance, reinforcing the sense of grounded presence and timeless rhythm that defines this sacred environment. The listener's own breath naturally mirrors this calm pace, slowing comfortably, deepening softly, the nervous system remaining settled and relaxed without conscious effort. In this peaceful in-between moment, neither fully night nor fully day, awareness remains soft and spacious, thoughts drifting lazily without forming strong patterns, the mind resting comfortably in a state of gentle clarity and quiet presence, supporting deep relaxation and mental restoration, preparing the body and mind to transition smoothly into the next cycle without stress or resistance. The air remains cool and refreshing, the light gentle and forgiving, the silence nurturing and protective, and within this balanced stillness the monastery continues to hold its quiet sanctuary, offering safety, calm, and steady continuity to all within its walls, allowing rest to remain deep and undisturbed as the new day slowly approaches with peaceful patience. As the first true light of morning slowly filters into the monastery corridors, pale gold rays touching the edges of stone arches and narrow windows, the quiet sanctuary gently transitions from deep rest into soft awakening without disruption or urgency, the air remaining cool and clean as subtle warmth begins to spread across surfaces that have rested in darkness throughout the night, creating a delicate balance that supports comfort and calm awareness, and within this gentle shift the monks remain peaceful in their chambers, breath steady and slow, bodies resting comfortably as the internal rhythms prepare naturally for gradual movement and renewed stillness in activity. The faint scent of morning dew drifts inward through open shutters, blending with the familiar aroma of aged stone and quiet wood, grounding the senses without stimulating alertness, allowing the mind to remain relaxed and open as awareness slowly expands. Gradually, one by one, the monks awaken quietly, not by sudden sound but by the gentle alignment of inner rhythms with the increasing light, eyes opening slowly, shoulders stretching subtly beneath simple blankets, breath remaining steady and unforced, movements minimal and respectful of the surrounding silence, feet touching the cool stone floor with grounding awareness, robes lifted carefully from wooden hooks, fabric resting softly against skin, the tactile sensations calming rather than stimulating, reinforcing the slow and deliberate pace that defines monastery life and supports steady nervous system regulation. As they step softly into the corridors, faint echoes of footsteps blend seamlessly into the ambient hush, lanterns dimmed as daylight grows stronger, shadows retreating gradually along curved walls, the space filled with soft, diffused light that reveals gentle textures in stone and wood without sharp contrast, creating visual comfort that supports mental ease and sustained calm. The monks move toward the washing basins where cool water flows quietly from carved stone spouts, hands dipping slowly into the refreshing stream, faces washed gently, the sensation awakening the senses lightly without disturbing inner stillness, droplets catching light briefly before sliding back into the basin, the sound of flowing water offering a consistent soothing background rhythm that reinforces relaxation and grounded presence. After cleansing, the monks gather silently in the chapel once more, the space now softly illuminated by natural light filtering through stained glass, colors faint yet comforting, casting gentle patterns upon the floor and columns, the atmosphere remaining cool and expansive, inviting inward listening rather than outward attention, bodies settling into seated stillness, spines upright yet relaxed, shoulders softened, breath slow and even, the silence deep and nurturing, allowing awareness to settle gently into the present moment without resistance or effort. Minutes pass slowly in quiet reflection, thoughts drifting lightly and dissolving naturally, the mind resting in spacious calm where attention floats softly without fixation, supporting emotional balance and clarity, heartbeat steady, muscles relaxed, the entire nervous system remaining settled and balanced, the chapel holding the group within its protective stillness, amplifying the sense of safety and continuity that permeates the monastery environment. When the quiet reflection concludes without spoken signal, the monks rise smoothly and move toward the refectory where a simple morning meal awaits, warm porridge resting in humble bowls, fresh bread releasing gentle aroma, water poured carefully into clay cups, the act of eating performed slowly and mindfully, each motion unhurried, each bite taken with awareness, the repetitive movements offering calming rhythm that supports digestion and comfort, the warmth of food spreading gently through the body, reinforcing physical ease and grounded stability, the faint sounds of wooden utensils touching bowls forming a soft consistent pattern that blends seamlessly into the quiet room without disruption. After the meal, bowls are returned carefully, surfaces wiped gently, the space restored to clean simplicity, and the monks step once more into the courtyard where morning light now fills the open sky, shadows soft and elongated across stone pathways, birds perched quietly along rooflines, the air crisp and refreshing, carrying subtle herbal fragrance from garden beds, rosemary and mint releasing gentle aroma as leaves warm slightly under sunlight, grounding the senses and promoting calm alertness without overstimulation. The monks begin their gentle morning tasks, some tending to plants with slow deliberate movements, loosening soil carefully, watering roots evenly, observing growth with patient attention, others returning to manuscripts where quills glide smoothly across parchment, letters forming gracefully without haste, the faint sound of writing blending into the ambient stillness, each task approached with mindful consistency, reinforcing the monastery's steady rhythm and promoting sustained mental ease and relaxed concentration. As the morning continues to unfold, the monastery remains enveloped in peaceful flow, light shifting gradually across walls, air warming subtly, shadows moving gently, the environment offering continuous stability and reassurance, inviting the body and mind to remain balanced, grounded, and deeply calm, allowing the listener to drift comfortably within this steady rhythm without interruption or distraction, maintaining restorative relaxation and quiet presence throughout the unfolding hours. As the gentle morning gradually matures into late morning warmth, sunlight spreading evenly across the monastery courtyard and gliding softly along the textured stone walls, the entire environment remains wrapped in a steady atmosphere of calm continuity, inviting the body and mind to remain grounded and unhurried as time unfolds naturally without pressure or demand. And within this peaceful flow the monks continue their simple tasks with measured consistency, movement slow and deliberate, breath steady and relaxed, the subtle sounds of footsteps, fabric, and distant birds blending seamlessly into the surrounding hush, creating a soothing auditory background that supports deep relaxation and sustained attention. The gardens receive steady care as hands loosen soil carefully, fingertips brushing cool earth, watering vessels tilted slowly to nourish tender roots, droplets falling softly and disappearing into the ground, the repetitive motions creating a meditative rhythm that gently anchors awareness into the present moment, easing mental activity and encouraging physical ease throughout the body. In shaded workspaces along the inner corridors, monks sit quietly at wooden benches repairing simple tools, smoothing rough edges with patient strokes, arranging materials neatly upon shelves, each task approached with mindful simplicity rather than efficiency or speed, reinforcing the monastery's philosophy of balance and steadiness, the faint sound of wood touching stone echoing softly without disruption, the light filtering gently through narrow windows creating soft gradients of brightness that rest comfortably upon the eyes and reduce visual strain, allowing the nervous system to remain settled and relaxed. Nearby, the scriptorium continues its tranquil rhythm as quills glide slowly across parchment, ink drying naturally in the warm air, pages turned carefully without haste, the consistent pattern of writing and reflection fostering a deep sense of continuity and quiet purpose, the mind remaining focused yet relaxed, thoughts flowing smoothly without tension, awareness anchored gently within the repetitive simplicity of each stroke and pause, creating a soothing cognitive environment that supports emotional balance and sustained calm. As the sun rises higher, warmth increases slightly across stone surfaces, the air carrying a subtle fragrance of warmed herbs and distant grasses drifting beyond the monastery walls, grounding the senses and enhancing comfort without overstimulation, the courtyard remaining sheltered and serene, shadows shortening gradually, light reflecting softly off pale stone pathways, creating a visual rhythm that remains gentle and predictable, supporting nervous system stability and ease. The monks pause occasionally to rest their hands, to stretch lightly, to take slow breaths of fresh air, allowing circulation to remain smooth and relaxed, shoulders softening naturally, posture remaining upright yet comfortable, the body supported by habitual gentle movement rather than strain or fatigue, reinforcing long-term physical ease and mental clarity without effort. When the midday bell hums softly once more, its tone low and comforting, the monks gather calmly in the chapel, stepping quietly into the cool interior where diffused light settles gently upon columns and benches, the air still and refreshing, inviting immediate inward settling, bodies lowering into seated stillness, hands resting loosely, eyes closed or softened, breath lengthening naturally without instruction, the silence deepening gradually into a nurturing presence that supports deep mental quiet and physiological calm, allowing any residual activity or stimulation to dissolve gently into spacious awareness. Minutes pass slowly in this collective stillness, time unfolding without markers or urgency, the mind drifting gently into open awareness where thoughts rise briefly and fade easily without engagement, the nervous system remaining balanced and relaxed, heart rate steady, muscles releasing subtle tension, the entire organism settling into harmonious calm that promotes restorative balance and mental clarity. As the stillness completes naturally, the monks rise smoothly and return to their afternoon activities with the same unhurried presence, stepping back into the softened daylight, the courtyard still peaceful and balanced, the rhythm of work resuming without disruption or contrast, reinforcing the sense of continuous flow that defines life within the monastery walls. The environment remains stable and reassuring, light shifting gradually, air warming subtly, shadows drifting slowly, sounds remaining minimal and gentle, inviting the listener's awareness to remain calm and anchored within this consistent rhythm, supporting sustained relaxation and quiet mental presence as the hours continue to unfold effortlessly. As the steady warmth of midday slowly softens into the gentler light of late afternoon, the monastery remains held within a continuous atmosphere of quiet stability, sunlight lowering gradually along the stone walls and courtyard pathways, shadows lengthening softly without sharp contrast, the air cooling slightly while retaining a comforting freshness that supports steady breathing and physical ease. And within this gentle transition the monks continue their peaceful routines with the same deliberate calm, movement smooth and unhurried, attention resting lightly within each simple action rather than reaching outward for stimulation or urgency. The gardens receive their final tending for the day as hands brush leaves lightly, checking moisture levels in the soil, adjusting small stones along garden edges, the scent of warm earth blending with fading sunlight to create a grounding sensory environment that invites deeper relaxation and steady awareness. In the shaded corridors, monks move quietly to organize tools and materials used throughout the day, returning items to their places with patient precision, shelves aligned neatly, surfaces wiped gently, the faint sound of cloth brushing wood blending seamlessly into the ambient stillness, the repetitive motions offering closure and order without mental strain, reinforcing the monastery's consistent rhythm of care and balance. The scriptorium begins to settle as quills are cleaned carefully, manuscripts covered and stored gently upon shelves, inkpots sealed, desks cleared in calm preparation for rest, the soft rustle of parchment echoing briefly before dissolving back into silence, the warm light filtering through narrow windows now angled lower, casting elongated golden patterns across the wooden surfaces, creating visual comfort and soothing continuity. As the afternoon progresses, subtle changes in temperature invite the body to remain comfortably grounded, muscles relaxed and responsive, breath remaining slow and even, the nervous system maintaining parasympathetic calm that supports steady focus and emotional balance, the mind drifting naturally into a softer state of awareness without sharp thought or internal dialogue. The courtyard remains quiet, birds settling gradually into nearby branches, their movements slow and deliberate, the sky shifting toward warmer hues of pale amber and muted rose beyond the monastery walls, offering a gentle visual signal of the approaching evening without stimulating alertness. The monks gather briefly within the chapel for a soft period of reflection, the interior now bathed in warm angled light that filters through stained glass, colors subdued and comforting, shadows stretching gently across stone floors and columns, bodies lowering into seated stillness once more, hands resting easily, eyes softened, breath flowing smoothly, the silence deepening naturally into a nourishing presence that supports mental clarity and emotional equilibrium, allowing any remaining cognitive activity to dissolve into spacious calm without effort. As the reflection concludes naturally, the monks rise smoothly and return to the refectory where the evening meal is prepared quietly, simple ingredients arranged carefully, warm aromas drifting gently through the air, inviting subtle sensory comfort without overstimulation, bowls placed thoughtfully upon wooden tables, water poured slowly, bread arranged neatly, the space prepared with quiet care and respectful simplicity, reinforcing the monastery's atmosphere of order and peace. The meal unfolds slowly and mindfully, each movement unhurried, each bite taken with gentle awareness, the warmth of food spreading gradually through the body, supporting physical comfort and grounding stability, the faint sounds of utensils touching bowls forming a soft repetitive rhythm that blends seamlessly into the calm environment without disturbance, encouraging steady breathing and relaxed posture. The nervous system remains settled, digestion supported by the unhurried pace, muscles remaining loose and comfortable, the mind resting lightly within the simplicity of the moment. After the meal, the monks clean their spaces gently, wiping surfaces carefully, returning bowls and utensils to their places, movements consistent and balanced, preserving the calm atmosphere as daylight continues to fade gradually beyond the courtyard walls, lanterns being lit softly along the corridors, their warm glow replacing natural light without sharp transition, shadows growing longer and softer across stone surfaces, reinforcing the slow descent into evening tranquility. Outside, the air cools slightly, carrying subtle night scents of earth and distant foliage, the sky deepening slowly into richer tones, stars beginning to emerge faintly beyond the monastery walls, and within this gentle environmental shift the body naturally begins preparing for rest, breath slowing further, muscles releasing more deeply, awareness becoming quieter and more inward, supporting the gradual movement toward nighttime stillness and restorative calm. As evening deepens fully into quiet night, the monastery gradually settles into a softer and more inward rhythm, lantern light glowing gently along the curved stone corridors, reflections drifting slowly across smooth walls like warm flowing water, the air cooling slightly yet remaining comfortable and still, inviting the body to release the final layers of daytime activity and enter deeper states of restfulness without resistance or effort. And within this calm descent the monks move slowly and silently through familiar passageways, footsteps light and measured, robes brushing softly against stone, each motion respectful of the shared silence that now wraps the entire sanctuary in peaceful stillness. The courtyard rests beneath a darkening sky where stars begin to shimmer faintly between slow-moving clouds, ivy leaves swaying gently in the mild night breeze, shadows stretching long and soft across ancient walls that have stood quietly through centuries of peaceful cycles, offering subconscious reassurance of stability and protection. Inside the chapel, a final quiet presence lingers even after candles are dimmed, the stone retaining subtle warmth, the space holding a comforting echo of calm reflection, benches resting undisturbed, columns standing silently like guardians of stillness, the air cool and balanced, allowing awareness to soften naturally without stimulation. The absence of sound feels nourishing rather than empty, creating an environment where the nervous system settles deeply into parasympathetic calm, heart rate slowing gently, breath lengthening naturally into smooth rhythmic cycles that resemble gentle ocean waves arriving quietly upon a distant shore. In the sleeping chambers, simple wooden beds wait quietly beneath soft blankets, windows slightly open to welcome fresh night air carrying faint scents of earth and distant foliage, the monks preparing for rest with unhurried simplicity, folding garments carefully, placing sandals neatly beside doorways, extinguishing lanterns slowly until darkness settles gently into each room without abrupt contrast, allowing the eyes and mind to adjust comfortably. Bodies lower onto the beds with ease, muscles releasing fully, shoulders softening, hands resting loosely, the spine supported naturally, the nervous system responding immediately with deeper relaxation and restorative stillness. Breathing becomes slower and more spacious, each inhale smooth and quiet, each exhale long and releasing, allowing tension to dissolve effortlessly, the mind drifting gradually away from structured thought into open awareness where images appear softly and fade without attachment, the boundary between waking and dreaming becoming gentle and fluid, supporting emotional balance and deep restoration. The faint sounds of distant night insects blend seamlessly into the silence, forming a low continuous background that reassures the subconscious and reinforces the sense of safety and continuity throughout the night. Outside, moonlight glides slowly across stone rooftops and narrow walkways, shadows shifting gradually as clouds drift lazily overhead, the sky holding a deep calm presence that mirrors the inner stillness of the monastery, reinforcing the natural rhythm of rest and renewal that unfolds without effort or control. The cool air remains steady and refreshing, supporting comfortable sleep and stable breathing patterns, while the surrounding environment remains undisturbed and balanced. Time passes gently during these quiet hours, not marked by sound or movement but by the slow shifting of light and air, by the deepening softness of breath, by the steady rhythm of the heart, and within this timeless flow the body enters deeper stages of rest, muscles repairing gently, the nervous system resetting naturally, the mind integrating memory softly without conscious effort, creating a profound sense of restoration and inner balance that continues uninterrupted throughout the night. Dreams unfold calmly, images slow and soothing, emotional tone gentle and neutral, awareness floating lightly within peaceful inner landscapes that dissolve gradually without sharp transition, supporting mental clarity and emotional stability. The entire monastery remains held within protective silence, walls absorbing and reflecting calm energy, corridors resting quietly, courtyards bathed in soft moonlight, offering collective reassurance and deep safety to every resting body within. As the night continues its slow and steady course, the environment remains unchanged in its tranquility, temperature balanced, air fresh, sounds minimal, allowing sleep to deepen naturally without interruption, inviting the listener's own body and mind to mirror this profound calm, sinking fully into restorative stillness, comfort, and peaceful awareness, supported by the steady rhythm of the ancient monastery breathing quietly through the dark hours. As the deepest hours of night stretch onward, the monastery remains enveloped in a seamless veil of stillness, lanterns extinguished long ago, stone walls cool yet comforting under the faint glow of moonlight filtering gently through narrow windows, the courtyard resting quietly beneath a sky scattered with distant stars, air calm and balanced, carrying subtle fragrances of dew-kissed herbs and softened earth, and within this profound calm the monks continue their long sleep uninterrupted, bodies fully relaxed, breath flowing smoothly, heart steady, muscles softened completely, the nervous system deeply settled into parasympathetic rest, supporting every physiological process in a state of restorative ease and balance. The gentle rhythm of their collective breathing forms an imperceptible pulse throughout the chambers, a quiet harmony that resonates softly within the stone corridors and vaulted ceilings, offering reassurance and the sense of enduring safety that allows sleep to deepen naturally and uninterrupted. The scriptorium and gardens lie dormant, tools and manuscripts carefully stored, leaves and herbs resting under the cool night sky, the faint rustle of occasional wind through ivy and distant trees merging with the subtle hum of night insects, forming a consistent, unobtrusive background rhythm that reinforces relaxation without drawing attention, and the smooth arc of moonlight casts gentle, elongated shadows that stretch across pathways and walls, soothing visual presence that eases the mind. Further into calm awareness. Within the chambers, blankets rise and fall gently with each slow breath, hands resting loosely, shoulders soft, spines aligned, every small muscle tension released effortlessly, allowing the body to respond naturally to restorative processes, energy renewing quietly, without any conscious effort, while the mind drifts freely between light dreamscapes and deep inner stillness, each image fading as easily as it arises. Time within this quiet sanctuary no longer exists as a sharp measurement, instead flowing gently in smooth continuity, marked only by the subtle shifts of moonlight, the gradual movement of shadows, the soft changes in air temperature, and the delicate patterns of breath, all combining to create an environment of profound, uninterrupted calm. The senses remain lightly attuned to the soothing ambience of the monastery, the faint hum of distant night creatures, the soft rustle of leaves, the cool texture of stone beneath feet and hands when movement is necessary, all elements contributing to an atmosphere where the mind can release entirely into spacious awareness, the body settling fully into deep rest, and the spirit resting effortlessly within the unbroken cycle of night. Even the distant hills and fields beyond the monastery walls participate in this slow rhythm, their presence felt only as a quiet extension of the stillness, the gentle whisper of wind or the faint shadow of tree branches moving in the darkness creating a soft, continuous sensory backdrop that reassures the nervous system and promotes uninterrupted restorative sleep. Every cell in the body responds naturally to the calm, muscles softening further, circulation steady and untroubled, joints relaxing completely, and the mind, freed from the demands of thought and urgency, drifts in a continuous stream of subtle images, sensations, and quiet awareness, each moment dissolving gently into the next without disturbance. As the night continues to mature, the monastery's quiet energy remains consistent, protective, and deeply supportive, offering an uninterrupted cocoon of rest that allows the listener to mirror this profound stillness, body and mind synchronized with the slow, measured rhythm of the sleeping environment, heartbeats calm, breath even, awareness spacious and light, resting effortlessly in a state of timeless ease and deep internal harmony. Every element of the space, from the worn stone floors to the wooden beams, from the silent gardens to the sleeping chambers, holds steady in perfect equilibrium, supporting a natural and restorative flow that continues seamlessly until the earliest hints of pre-dawn begin to touch the horizon beyond the monastery walls. As the first pale hints of dawn begin to appear beyond the monastery walls, soft shades of muted lavender and delicate silver stretching slowly across the horizon, the night gradually releases its hold without disturbance, the air remaining cool and calm, carrying subtle fragrances of dew and earth, and within this gentle transition the monastery stirs slowly in perfect harmony, shadows shifting ever so slightly along stone walls and courtyard paths, light falling softly through narrow windows, illuminating textures and surfaces with a quiet golden glow, the environment unchanged in its tranquil rhythm yet subtly moving toward a new day. The monks, still resting in their chambers, begin to respond naturally to these subtle cues, eyes opening slowly, bodies stretching gently beneath warm blankets, breath deepening and lengthening without urgency, muscles releasing completely, each movement performed with measured care that preserves the calm and restorative energy of the night, allowing the nervous system to remain balanced and relaxed. Soft morning sounds begin to drift in gently, distant birds waking in the nearby trees, the faint rustle of leaves stirred by a light breeze, water droplets settling on stone surfaces in the courtyard, and these elements form a soothing backdrop rather than a call to alertness, supporting the continuation of restful calm while signaling subtle awareness of the approaching day. Within the chapel, faint light glances along columns and benches, illuminating the quiet space with a peaceful golden hue, the atmosphere maintaining its nurturing stillness as the monks prepare for morning reflection, moving slowly and silently to their positions, hands resting loosely, spines upright yet relaxed, eyes softened, breath steady and measured, creating a harmonious environment where mind and body remain calm, grounded, and fully present within the gentle transition from night into day. In the refectory, the morning meal is prepared with deliberate, unhurried care, ingredients arranged thoughtfully, the faint aroma of warm bread and herbal infusions mingling with the soft coolness of pre-dawn air, each motion slow and precise, reinforcing a sense of continuity and peaceful ritual that promotes calm awareness, digestive comfort, and relaxed attention. The monks eat slowly, each bite deliberate, each sip mindful, the quiet repetition of movement forming a gentle rhythm that mirrors the larger cadence of the monastery's environment, supporting steady breathing, smooth circulation, and deep internal relaxation even as the day begins. The courtyard gradually brightens as the sun rises further, pale golden light spilling over rooftops and stone pathways, shadows shortening and blending softly into the warm glow, ivy leaves shimmering gently with dew, herbs and flowers reflecting muted color in the delicate early rays, all elements harmoniously aligned to create visual and sensory continuity that encourages lingering calm and measured awareness. The monks move through these spaces with deliberate attention to gentle motions, tending the gardens, adjusting small stones along paths, observing plant growth, or returning to manuscripts with soft, careful strokes, all activities performed without haste, without stimulation, reinforcing the overarching rhythm of slow, steady presence. Within the monastery's protective embrace, time flows softly and predictably, hearts remain calm, breath remains steady, muscles soft, awareness spacious, each movement unfolding naturally, without interruption, without pressure, creating a continuous flow of restful and restorative energy that carries seamlessly from the depths of night into the emerging light of day. The listener's mind and body mirror this steady rhythm, remaining anchored in spacious calm, effortlessly resting, smoothly transitioning toward gentle wakefulness, yet fully supported by the continuity of sensory, emotional, and physiological ease that has been maintained throughout the long night and pre-dawn hours. As the dawn continues to mature, light spreading across every courtyard, corridor, and garden with quiet persistence, the monk's awareness settles fully into the present, breath slow and measured, bodies aligned and relaxed, minds spacious and free from tension, each moment passing seamlessly into the next, creating a final sense of closure that is both gentle and enduring, the entire monastery infused with steady harmony, protective calm, and continuous restorative presence. The world outside begins to awaken gradually, yet inside the monastery the same rhythm of quiet, measured, unhurried attention continues, offering the listener a final cocoon of deep calm, peaceful awareness, and restorative stillness that gently concludes the immersive experience, leaving mind, body, and spirit fully aligned, rested, and prepared for a slow and measured beginning to the new day. In the quiet village of medieval England, the early morning mist clings gently to thatched rooftops and winding cobblestone lanes, softening every edge, blurring the distant hills into pale gray silhouettes, and within this calm, the villagers move slowly and deliberately, tending to animals, preparing small fires for the day's bread, and carrying out daily tasks with a rhythm that is unhurried and soothing, the steady cadence of steps upon soft earth and stone forming a gentle background pattern that naturally eases the mind. Smoke drifts lazily from chimneys, curling upward in slow spirals that dissipate into the still air, carrying faint scents of wood and warming grains, mingling with the cool freshness of dew-laden grass and orchard trees, supporting deep relaxation as the body and mind adjust to the day's slow unfolding. Inside the modest homes, simple wooden furniture rests quietly beneath the muted light streaming through small windows, blankets folded carefully, pottery lined along shelves, the domestic order creating a sense of security and calm, the consistent patterns of daily life offering reassurance to the senses. Outside, the soft sound of animals grazing in the fields blends with the distant trickle of a small stream, the water flowing smoothly over rounded stones, creating a continuous auditory rhythm that anchors attention gently without requiring focus, the air cool yet comfortable, carrying the faint rustle of leaves and the occasional distant call of birds, all moving slowly in harmonious coordination, the environment nurturing a sense of timeless peace. Villagers move quietly through the lanes, carrying baskets of produce, tending to livestock with gentle hands, the motions deliberate and unhurried, every action performed in rhythm with the surrounding calm, the tactile sensation of warm earth, soft hay, and wooden tools grounding the body, reinforcing deep relaxation. Even the village square, where small market stalls are prepared for later in the day, remains bathed in gentle muted light, the quiet arrangement of goods and smooth movement of hands forming a visual pattern that encourages effortless mental ease, eyes resting comfortably on familiar textures and shapes, supporting sustained physiological calm. As the mist begins to lift slowly toward late morning, the hills beyond the village emerge softly into view, muted greens and browns blending seamlessly into the pale sky, the sensory environment remaining steady and predictable, allowing the mind to drift naturally, thoughts fading gently, breath deepening into slow, even cycles, muscles releasing completely, the nervous system balanced and at ease, each passing moment inviting further relaxation and restorative calm. Within homes and fields, animals move quietly, their soft sounds integrating into the background, adding texture to the day without urgency or tension, the entire scene unfolding with deliberate slowness, shadows shifting subtly with the rising sun, and the villagers' movements continuing gently, supporting a continuous flow of calm energy, the rhythm of daily life sustaining a quiet, soothing, almost hypnotic presence that carries effortlessly into the mind and body of anyone observing or imagining this serene setting. In this peaceful, almost timeless environment, each breath mirrors the gentle unfolding of the day, heartbeat steady, attention diffuse yet anchored comfortably, awareness spacious, and every element, sound, sight, touch, and scent, contributing harmoniously to deep relaxation, preparing the body and mind for prolonged calm, restorative sleep, or focused meditative rest, all unfolding slowly, softly, without interruption, maintaining unbroken continuity of calm and ease. In the quiet village of medieval England, the early morning mist hangs gently over thatched rooftops and winding cobblestone lanes, softening every edge and blurring the distant hills into pale gray silhouettes, the air cool and lightly scented with dew and damp earth, carrying a subtle calm that wraps around every home and pathway, and within this stillness the villagers move slowly and deliberately through their daily routines, each action performed with unhurried care, feet stepping softly upon moist stones, hands brushing warm straw or smooth wood, the repetitive rhythm of movement creating a soothing pattern that eases the mind and invites deep relaxation. Smoke drifts lazily from chimneys in soft, curling spirals that dissipate into the calm air, carrying faint aromas of wood fires, warmed bread, and brewing herbal infusions, mingling seamlessly with the scent of wet grass and orchard trees, grounding the senses and supporting the body's natural rhythm towards steady parasympathetic calm. Within simple wooden cottages, furniture rests quietly beneath soft light filtering through small windows, blankets folded neatly, pottery arranged with mindful care, and the structure itself holds the gentle energy of order and continuity, reassuring the subconscious and inviting mental stillness. Outside, animals move slowly in fields, their soft steps blending with the distant trickle of a narrow stream flowing over rounded stones, the water's steady movement forming a continuous auditory backdrop that anchors attention lightly without demanding focus, while the occasional soft call of birds punctuates the quiet, each sound integrated seamlessly into the soothing environment. Villagers carry baskets of produce along cobbled lanes, tending livestock with careful hands, pouring water for animals, brushing hay slowly into mounds, the tactile sensation of earth, wood, and soft fabric providing grounding comfort that encourages physical and mental relaxation simultaneously. The village square, prepared for the day's market, remains bathed in muted light, shadows softening along smooth stone and wooden surfaces, goods arranged neatly with predictable order, the visual environment supporting effortless attention and minimizing any mental strain, encouraging a gentle, hypnotic awareness. As the mist begins to lift gradually toward late morning, the surrounding hills emerge softly, greens and browns blending harmoniously with the pale sky, the sun casting long, gentle rays that warm stone surfaces and glimmer upon leaves, creating subtle visual rhythms that soothe the eyes and mind alike. Villagers continue their tasks with deliberate slowness, hands brushing leaves, adjusting stones, observing growing plants, tending to small fires and water troughs, movements synchronized with the calm sensory environment, reinforcing internal bodily rhythms, steady breathing, relaxed muscles, and a tranquil heart rate. Time flows gently, unhurried, marked by the subtle arc of sunlight, the occasional gentle breeze, and the consistent rhythms of repetitive action, allowing the nervous system to remain fully balanced, the mind to drift effortlessly, and awareness to float comfortably between observation and relaxation. The air carries faint scents of warming herbs, baking bread, and the earthy freshness of tilled soil, each element reinforcing grounded calm, each sound contributing to a continuous, soothing backdrop, the combination of sights, smells, and tactile sensations forming an immersive environment where the body and mind can fully settle, muscles softening further with every movement, the spine releasing tension naturally, breath deepening slowly, the subconscious reassured by predictable rhythms. The overall sensory flow supporting prolonged relaxation. As afternoon light filters across rooftops and courtyard paths, shadows shifting gradually with the sun, the villagers pause intermittently to rest, stretch, or simply breathe the fresh air, their movements unhurried, their awareness soft and expansive, each gesture reinforcing internal ease and restorative balance. Even the distant hills, fields, and clusters of trees participate in this gentle, slow rhythm, subtle sounds of wind moving through leaves or soft water trickling in far-off streams blending effortlessly into the ambient environment, forming a continuous, hypnotic texture that nurtures the mind into effortless calm. Within cottages and communal spaces, animals rest quietly, their slow breathing and soft movements adding texture to the auditory landscape without disturbing the overall tranquility, the environment maintaining seamless harmony, reinforcing a state of deep restorative awareness and inner balance that continues uninterrupted throughout the day's slow unfolding. The rising sun warms stone, wood, and straw, creating soft gradients of light and temperature that move gradually across surfaces, shadows lengthening and shortening imperceptibly, the entire village wrapped in steady, comforting continuity, inviting the observer or listener to mirror this calm internally, body and mind aligning with the gentle, predictable flow, muscles releasing, breath deepening, heart steady, awareness spacious and soft, each passing moment reinforcing deep relaxation and sustained restorative presence, the environment and all activity contained within it unfolding without abruptness, without tension, a seamless and hypnotic rhythm that carries gently from morning into late afternoon, supporting long, restorative calm for body, mind, and spirit.